Hey guys, it's Miss Gibson, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the next book we're going to read. It's called Communities Helping Communities. It's by Erin Ash Sullivan. And the first thing I want you to do is just, again, preview your book. You're going to flip through it, you're going to look at the pictures, maybe think, get some idea about what it's going to be about. And after you're finished with your preview, we're going to read together, and we're going to do a few activities to go with it. So I hope you like it. We're going to start by looking in the front inside cover of your book. You can see the big idea. In a democratic society, many organizations serve the common good. Then you can see our social studies objectives. Identify 3 organizations that help people or animals in need. Describe the situations in which the Red Cross and Unicef go into action. Explain the 3 goals of the World Wildlife Fund. Then you can see, consider this. Have you read about or seen pictures of the earthquake that struck Haiti on January 12, 2010? About 3 million people were affected by the quake. Earthquakes are one of the many disasters that occur. Other disasters include a loss of habitat or a lack of food and clean water. What do people do in these situations? Where do they find help? Who speaks for humans and animals in need? Read on to find out. And underneath that, you can see our content vocabulary: child labor, drought, endangered, extinct, habitat, immunization, organization, pollution, refugee, volunteer. And on the next page, you can see our table of contents. Remember, a table of contents shows us what we're going to be reading about. We can see that there's an introduction, 3 chapters, and a conclusion. So let's get started. Introduction. People around the world face hard problems. Sometimes there are earthquakes. Sometimes hurricanes hit. Sometimes there are wars. In some places, children do not have enough to eat. Other children don't have medicine when they are sick. Some children don't have schools. Even Earth is in trouble. Wild places are disappearing. Pollution is hurting the air, the land, and the water. Some wild animals are disappearing. But there is good news. There are groups that help solve these problems. The groups help when disasters hit. They help children in many ways. Some groups work to save wild animals. Others work to save Earth. Around the world, there are communities helping other communities. If you look at our pictures, at the top we see the tiger. It says, the World Wildlife Fund helps protect animals in danger. Under that, UNICEF helps children around the world in many ways. It even gives them soccer balls so they can play. On the left, the International Committee of the Red Cross helps sick and injured people. Chapter 1, the International Committee of the Red Cross. In 2001, a volcano erupted in the Philippines. People ran for cover. Thousands needed help. The International Committee of the Red Cross came. They brought medicine, food, and water. The International Committee of the Red Cross is an organization or group. It was started in 1863. Most people call this group the Red Cross. The Red Cross helps people everywhere. It helps when there are disasters, such as volcanoes or earthquakes. It also helps when there are wars. One thing makes the Red Cross special. It is neutral. That means it doesn't take sides. The Red Cross helps anyone who is hurt, hungry, or homeless. If there is a war, the Red Cross helps people on both sides. If we look at our pictures with captions, you can see a Red Cross poster that was created in 1939. And on the other side, nearly 47,000 people lost their homes when a volcano erupted in the Philippines. Now we're going to look at the page insert at the bottom. It says, solve this, number 1. So throughout our book, we're going to have some math-related questions. You guys are going to get a sheet of paper and write down the answers to these questions. And at the end, we'll check our answers. So number 1, many Red Cross organizations have blood drives. People donate blood to help other people who are sick or hurt. The average adult has about 10 pints of blood in his or her body. A person who donates blood gives about 1 pint. How could you show the amount of donated blood as a fraction? War in Europe. In 1999, there was a war in Kosovo. Kosovo was a province or region of Serbia. Many people lost their homes. They had nowhere to go. They had no blankets or warm clothes. Thousands of people became refugees. They were forced to leave their homes. The Red Cross went there to help. Volunteers gave out tents, sleeping bags, and blankets. They brought food. They brought milk powder to make milk for babies. The Red Cross couldn't bring peace to the people of Kosovo, but it did bring them food, warmth, and hope. So we can look at our page insert. They made a difference. In 1859, a Swiss man named Henry Dunant watched a battle. He was upset that no one was helping the injured soldiers. He decided to get doctors and nurses to help all soldiers, no matter what side they fought on. That was the start of the Red Cross. Then you have another page insert. Point. Visualize. Imagine yourself as a refugee in Kosovo. What do you see yourself doing to pass the time? What do you see yourself doing to help your family? Think about that for a minute. Talk about it with someone at home. And now we can look at the pictures on page 6. You can see a map which shows that Kosovo is in Eastern Europe. And then at the bottom, hundreds of thousands of people from Kosovo were driven from their homes into refugee camps. Earthquake in Asia. It was October of 2005. People in the Asian region of Kashmir were enjoying a quiet night. Then, suddenly, the ground shook. It was an earthquake. The earthquake was one of the largest in history. Villages were destroyed. Many people were lost or trapped in mountain areas. The Red Cross came to the rescue. Doctors, nurses, and other volunteers flew to Kashmir. The volunteers set up hospitals. It was not easy. Kashmir had few good roads. In many places, there was no running water or electricity. But a hospital needs those things. The Red Cross put up hospital tents. They used batteries for power. They brought fresh water. At last, the sick and hurt people could get help. Now, if we look at our page insert, we can see careers. Doctors Without Borders. Many doctors from all over the world are part of a group called Doctors Without Borders. They fly to places where there is a disaster. They help people who are sick or hurt. Like the Red Cross, members of Doctors Without Borders are neutral. They do not get paid for their work. They help people because they care. If we look at our pictures and their captions, we can see earthquakes can do a lot of damage in just a few minutes. Then we can see a map. Shows us that Kashmir is a region in Asia. It borders India, China, and Pakistan. And at the bottom, this girl was one of the lucky ones. She survived the earthquake in Kashmir. Chapter 2, Unicef. In 2000, there was a serious drought in Africa. It didn't rain for months. Families in many countries lost their crops. Farm animals died. People were hungry and sick. UNICEF was there to help. UNICEF is an organization that helps children around the world. It sends doctors to help children stay healthy. It sets up schools. It works for laws that keep children safe. UNICEF began in 1946. A war left many children in Europe without homes or food. At that time, the United Nations had just been started. It is an organization that helps countries work together to solve problems. The United Nations decided that it needed a special group of people to deal with the problems of children. So they created UNICEF. The letters stand for United Nations Children's Fund. If we look at our page insert, it's a fact. In many countries around the world, girls do not have the same chances in life that boys do. Some countries don't want girls to go to school. UNICEF works hard to see that girls get a good education. They make sure girls are treated fairly. And our other page insert, historical perspective. Trick or treat for UNICEF. Have you ever taken one of these with you on Halloween? UNICEF made these orange boxes in the 1950s so that children could collect money for other children in need. Today, American children collect millions of dollars for UNICEF to help kids. Helping children stay healthy. One of UNICEF's most important jobs is to help children stay healthy. Children in many countries do not get enough food. Sometimes there is no rain. Crops can't grow. Without crops, there isn't enough food. Wars can also stop people from growing enough food. Children need good food and clean water to grow up healthy. UNICEF sends help. Sometimes workers give out food and vitamins. They also set up water pumps for clean, fresh water. UNICEF also makes sure that children get immunizations. The shots of medicine keep children safe from disease. The shots help save lives each year. You can look at our picture. It's captioned. In some villages in India, it is hard to find fresh water. UNICEF helps by making sure people have water pumps. And our page insert is our second Solve This Question. UNICEF helped children in Afghanistan. During the cold winters, workers gave out 800,000 blankets. They gave out 730,000 winter clothes. They gave out 500,000 socks and boots. How many items were handed out in all? So add up those numbers and add that to your answer sheet. Play is important. What if you could not go to school? What if you couldn't play during the day? Some children around the world have no time to go to school or play. They must work. Some start working when they are 4. UNICEF believes that every child should go to school and have time to play. UNICEF works to change laws about child labor, or work done by children. UNICEF also believes that sports are important. Sports help children to be healthy and strong. Sports teach children how to work in teams, but in some poor countries, children can't afford sports equipment. UNICEF helps. It sends the children special boxes. Inside each Sport in a Box kit, children find everything they need to play a game of soccer. We look at our picture, the captions. UNICEF is trying to stop child labor. Some children work in factories like this. And at the bottom, UNICEF wants all children to be able to play. Our first page insert is a point. Think about it. Most of this chapter is about problems such as hunger and poor health. Why did the author think it was important to include information about play? Take a second and think about that, and you can talk about it with someone at your house. And then our last page insert here is Solve This Question number 3. UNICEF sent out 100 Sport in a Box kits to 12 different countries. How many boxes did they send in all? Think about that and write down your answer on your answer sheet. Chapter 3, the World Wildlife Fund. The Amazon rainforest is an amazing place. All kinds of animals and plants live there. Jaguars prowl the rainforest floor. Two-toed sloths hang from the trees. Harpy eagles soar overhead. But the rainforest is in danger. The animals that live there are in danger too. Who will save the rainforest and the creatures that call it home? The World Wildlife Fund, or WWF, is an important organization that is working to save the rainforest. The World Wildlife Fund has 3 goals. It works to save animals that are endangered. These animals are in danger of becoming extinct or dying out completely. The WWF also works to protect habitats, the places where animals and plants live. And the World Wildlife Fund works to stop pollution. The World Wildlife Fund has a hard job. Many animals are in danger. Many parts of Earth suffer from pollution. But WWF volunteers work hard to keep Earth and its animals and plants safe. We look at our picture, the caption. The toucan is just one of the many animals that live in the Amazon rainforest. In our page insert, they made a difference. In 1960, a man named Sir Julian Huxley went to Africa. He was upset by what he saw. He saw that some animals were becoming extinct. He saw habitats being destroyed. Sir Julian Huxley took action. He started the World Wildlife Fund to protect wild animals and wild spaces. Saving species. Have you ever seen a dodo or Carolina parakeet? You haven't because they're extinct. Those species of birds are gone from Earth forever. The World Wildlife Fund works hard to protect endangered animals. Some animals become endangered because humans take over their habitats. Some animals are hunted too much. Sometimes diseases cause many animals to die. One animal the World Wildlife Fund wants to save is the rhinoceros. There used to be many rhinos. They lived in Africa and Asia. Then hunters started killing too many rhinos, and not many were left. What does the WWF do to help? It works to stop people from hunting the rhinos. It works to set aside land that is safe for rhinos. The plan is working. Now the rhino population is growing. We look at our pictures. At the top, we can see long ago, farmers thought Carolina parakeets were pests, so they hunted the birds. Eventually, the species died out. And at the bottom, very few rhinos live in the wild today. Most of them live on safe lands called nature reserves. In our page insert, we can see the fourth solve this question. The leatherback turtle is endangered. The World Wildlife Fund is trying to save this special animal. Over the past few years, more leatherback turtles have built their nests along the coast of Florida. Look at this graph. About how many nests were there in 1997? How many in 2003? How many more were there in 2003 than in 1997? So take a look at the graph, find your answers, and add that to your answer sheet. Saving habitats. The World Wildlife Fund works hard to protect habitats. When animal homes are safe, the animals are safe. The rainforest of South America is one of the most important habitats on Earth. Many kinds of plants and animals can be found only in the rainforest. How is the World Wildlife Fund working to keep the rainforest safe? It created a plan to protect almost 200,000 square miles of rainforest. So far, the plan is working. In Brazil, you can find Chimocamé Mountains National Park. It is the largest tropical forest national park in the world. The animals and plants that live there are safe. We look at our pictures. On the left, we can see if the WWF is successful in protecting the Amazon rainforest, the protected habitats there will be larger than the entire national park system of the United States. And on the right side, the two-toed sloth lives in the trees of the rainforest and eats the fruit that it finds there. It's a great climber, but a bad walker. On the ground, it's so weak that it has to drag itself along with its front claws. And we can see our fifth solve this question. 1 out of every 3 animal species in the world can be found in the Amazon. Is this closer to 5%, 10%, or 30%? Think about that for a second and add your answer to your answer sheet. Conclusion. There are many problems in the world. Natural disasters happen. In some countries, wars are being fought. People need help. Children are hungry. Animals and habitats need protection. There are organizations that try to solve those problems. People around the world are working together. Thousands of volunteers work hard every day. They make sure that people get what they need and that Earth is protected. When people work together as a community, they can make a big difference. Now you see a chart. It has the name of the organization, its goals, and where it works. First, we have the Red Cross. Its goals are to help people who are homeless, sick, or injured because of man-made disasters, like wars, and because of natural disasters, like earthquakes, hurricanes, and so on. It works all over the world. Next, we have Unicef. Its goals are to help children by providing healthy food and water, by giving immunizations, and by supporting laws to protect children. And it works all over the world. And we have the World Wildlife Fund. Its goals are to protect Earth by saving endangered species and habitats and by fighting pollution. And it works all over the world. Finally, we have our glossary. Remember, you can use that to find the meanings of words you may not know or remember. And then if we look in the back inside cover, we have write in your social studies journal. You are going to choose one of the following prompts to write about in your journal. Make drawings, charts, or other graphic features to help you organize your thoughts. So we have 3 journal prompts, and you are going to answer one of them. Number 1, write about the organization you would most like to join. Give the reasons for your choice. If you have ever seen this organization at work, describe what you observed. List the questions you would want to ask to learn more about the group. You're going to make connections. Number 2, the World Wildlife Fund works hard to protect endangered animals. Review the text. Explain why some animals become endangered. You're going to identify cause and effect with that answer. And number 3, organizations such as the Red Cross, Unicef, and the WWF send mailings to people describing their work and asking for donations. Why do you think they do this? Why do you think it might be important for people to donate money to these groups? They're going to make a judgment. So pick one of those 3 answers. You can write it in your journal, which, just like the other books we've read, can be the same sheet of paper if you want it to be. Mine sure are. You can type it up. Anyway, I can't wait to see your answers. Remember your 5 math questions and the page inserts that said solve this? Well, now we're going to take a look at the answers. So get your sheet of paper that you wrote your answers on, and let's see if you were right. It's going to tell us at the back of our book. So on page 5, number 1, 1 out of 10 pints equals 1/10. Just like the fractions we've been talking about. Number 2 from page 13, 800,000 plus 730,000 plus 500,000 equals 2,030,000 items. Number 3 from page 15, 100 boxes times 12 countries equals 1,200 boxes. Number 4 from page 19, about 400 leatherback nests in 1997, about 850 leatherback nests in 2003. And your last question, number 5 from page 21, your answer is 30%. So, how did you do? Next, we're going to take a closer look at our content vocabulary. Again, that's on the front inside cover of your book. Those words right there. And just to look at them one more time, our words are child labor, drought, endangered, extinct, habitat, immunization, organization, pollution, refugee, and volunteer. So go back over those words in your content vocabulary. Make sure you know what they mean. You can go back and find them in your book, see how they're used in a sentence, and if you really need to, you can look at page 23 in your book. It is your glossary, and remember, your glossary tells you how to pronounce words and what they mean. So you're going to make sure you have an understanding of each of your content vocabulary words. Now that we have read Communities Helping Communities and we've learned a little bit about our vocabulary words, we are going to do an entry in our reading journal. You're going to turn to page 11. This page tells you that you're going to list 3 facts that you have learned from your book. And then you're going to tell what pages they appeared on. So you're going to end up writing fact 1 and what was that fact. You're going to write a second fact and a third fact, and you're going to put which pages you found each of these facts on. So when you fill that out, remember, you can send me your answers, you can take a picture, you can send me an email. I can't wait to see what you write. Thanks for listening to Communities Helping Communities by Erin Ash Sullivan. I hope now you have a better understanding of the Red Cross, UNICEF, and the World Wildlife Fund. And just think, one day you could be a volunteer for any of these organizations.